Meghan McCain replaced by Bari Weiss on The View as Meghan heads to maternity leave, allegedly. Hi, welcome to JOA. If you're new to my channel, please click subscribe and click the bell button so you'll be the first to know when I upload. So the word on the street, and I have reported this before on my channel months ago, Bari Weiss is set to make appearances on The View as Meghan McCain goes to maternity leave. Next season, according to sources, Meghan is set to leave The View temporarily, and Bari Weiss is set to replace her. Now, it seems that Meghan McCain calls the shots on The View, right? I mean, allegedly banning Sherri Shepherd after she told Meghan to lighten up on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live, and allegedly banning Setamayer from the show and from the Conservative Party since she does not agree with Puppet Meghan McCain or coaching husband's conservative viewpoints, allegedly. Meghan McCain got the job for Abby Huntsman, who pretty much is a dingbat when it comes to politics, but was a little more likable than Meghan. It is only obvious that Bari Weiss will be there for Meghan since they are great friends. Bari Weiss has made appearances on The View. She is openly bisexual Jewish woman, and she's known for being problematic since, from what I know, her college years, with her biased views for Israel and trying to get an Arab professor fired from a university. She is no Meghan McCain of being nasty, but her viewpoints fit the bill with her lies about Ilhan Omar and her views that Israel is subjected to being dehumanized by the left and the right. And I want you guys to watch this clip of her talking about the growth of anti-Semitism in the United States of America amongst Jews.
That's come up several times at this table lately are accusations that some of the newly elected Democratic candidates are promoting anti-Semitism, which is a subject that our guest co-host Bari Weiss has spent her career writing about. So we're glad to have you here. And let me ask you this. Now, you are a proud Jewish girl.
Yes.
You had your bat mitzvah at, what's the name of the place again?
Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life that was hit by the terrorist attack recently. And even though you have been writing and talking about anti-Semitism, something switched with you after that terrorist attack. Tell us about that.
Well, I would say for the past decade or more, I've been watching, as all of you have, the rising anti-Semitism across Europe. Cemeteries being defaced,
Right.
and a Holocaust survivor lynched in her apartment in Paris by her neighbors, people getting beat up in the street for wearing a yarmulke or for speaking Hebrew in Berlin. I always thought that America was different. That it was different not just because of our love of religious liberty and the fact that the founders themselves always had embraced the Jewish population of this country, but the fact that we don't have a history of genocide and anti-Jewish pogroms, and the fact that we don't have a flood of immigrants from countries where anti-Semitism is the norm,
But
despite what Donald Trump would say.
But there's always been some anti-Semitism in this country. I remember during World War II, famously the St. Louis ship
was turned around.
famously turned back to go back to Germany because they would not accept them in this country. And FDR was our president at the time.
Yes,
so,
and there's always been country
Yeah.
club anti-Semitism and having to change your name anti-Jewish prejudice. What's different is the fact that I thought America was an exception has changed. I am now worried that what we are seeing in Europe could be coming here, and that's for a few reasons. The main one of which is the fact that conspiracy-minded thinking, the idea that their Jews are a secret power that control the world, something that we see both on the right and the left, is rising. And in a politics where there's no healthy middle ground, where there's no center, and where the lunatic fringe is rising on the left and on the right, you kind of have a perfect storm. On the right, you have the far right saying the Jews aren't white and Christian enough.
Alt-right, please.
Alt-right, excuse me. And on the far left, you're hearing them say that the Jews are not victim enough. And so the Jews sort of have no place in American politics at the moment. And that is not a good situation.
In my wholehearted opinion, and this is personal, I don't like the woman. She's clearly playing the victim. This woman's whole career is on the basis of anti-Semitism, is on the basis of her narrative that, Jews are being discriminated against. And yes, there are instances around the world, in Germany and in Europe, where, Jews are being attacked. But she's bringing that to the United States of America, which I really don't see a rise of anti-Semitism in America. I actually see a rise in the Jewish community in the media. I mean, come on now, look at Look at Nick Cannon. Look at his words and what he said on his podcast, which I still don't even know why he was canceled because of that, which kind of led him to post suicidal tweets on his Twitter page. Look at Bernie Sanders and how the far right criticizes Bernie Sanders because he is aligned with Palestinian American New Yorker Linda Sarsour, who advocated Bernie Sanders for presidency because, he's against the Iraqi war. He is for the rights of Palestinians. And Bernie Sanders was actually subjected to criticism from the far right because he was in support of Linda Sarsour, like I said, who's Palestinian. And people, the far right, are using that against him because, come on now, there's still racial perception of Arabs, Palestinians in general, due to the fact that, when 9/11 occurred almost 20 years ago. So this woman right here is supposed to replace Meghan McCain on The View while she goes on maternity leave. And it seems as if Meghan McCain does call the shots, considering that Abby Huntsman was on the show and Abby Huntsman was hired because she is Meghan McCain's best friend, obviously, and she wasn't credible to be on the show because, to me, she lacked of information when it came to politics, and she was she had no substance, and The View was allegedly going to fire her anyway, so she put it in her notice and quit automatically, allegedly. And she recently just got laid off from her father's campaign because he didn't win the governor of Utah. So now she's basically without a job, but her parents are billionaires, so she'll be all right. So if this woman is on The View, like Bari Weiss, I have a high dislike for this woman. I do have a high dislike for this woman. She's like Meghan McCain in a way where she plays victim. She recently left her job. She's a writer and editorial. I think she was working for some type of publication in New York, and she left her job because she was, according to her, subjected to bullying because of her beliefs. And she feels like the rise of her beliefs in the United States of America are subjected to bullying, and that people can't really express their viewpoints without being subjected to being canceled, which I find very hypocritical because, like I said, Nick Cannon, hello. And in reality, let's call a spade a spade. The Jewish community run Hollywood. Let's call a spade, right? They run the media, the executives, a lot of them are prominently Jewish, and while there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a line of wrongness going on with this woman's views and her biasness towards, Arabs in the Palestinian conflict, where multi-millions of Arabs have to relocate to Jordan and other Arab countries in 1947 when Israel took over. And now Trump being, in reality, the most recent president to negate the peace and the rights towards Palestinian territory, where presidents before actually had an opposite view before the notion. And now Ms. Bari Weiss' prominent figure, Mr. Benjamin, who's the prime minister of Israel, is looking to annex the Jordan Valley and is looking to occupy the remains of the Palestinian territory in Israel. And that pisses me off to an extent. And it pisses me off that this woman, Bari Weiss, doesn't talk about that at all. She just only talks about the discrimination and prejudice of Jews, whereas the Palestinians, Arabs, nothing matters. That's it. She's a racist woman. To me, I view her as being racist, and I don't like her at all. I don't like her at all whatsoever. I mean, I'm very critical of Meghan McCain because I firmly believe that her husband allegedly coaches her, but this woman, Bari Weiss, I have a high dislike for her, and I hope this, from what I hear, I hope it's not true at all. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Please do subscribe and click the bell button so you'll be the first to know when I upload. Deuces, yeah.